What is a VMS? Welcome to the first of a series of videos on volunteer management and the role of technology. These videos are based on a webinar hosted by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Alberta, CPA Alberta Community Ambassadors, and other organizations. My name is Hans Potter, and I will be your host and narrator for the series. This video provides you with the concepts used throughout the series. More information about managing nonprofits or other organizations can be obtained by visiting myorgbio.org. Let's start with a definition. What is a volunteer management system? The acronym VMS has become synonymous with commercial software used to manage volunteers. Within the context of the webinar and this video series, VMS simply means how a nonprofit organizes its volunteers, an organization's processes and technologies. The third bullet point recognizes that you can't automate everything, and sometimes a manual process is best. Using this definition, possible solutions fall along a continuum. At one extreme of the VMS continuum is a notepad, phone calls, or text messages. For a micro nonprofit, this might be the optimal solution. On the other end of the continuum, some organizations have implemented sophisticated client relationship management tools to organize volunteers, donors, and other stakeholders. The Canadian Multiple Sclerosis Society is an example of this. It has configured Salesforce, a client relationship management tool, to manage its volunteers. This makes sense, as the society supports thousands of volunteers across the country. Most nonprofits fall into the sweet spot between building its own online system and buying the services from a vendor such as Volunteer Local. Auto Manual Solution involves a nonprofit creating its own online forms to capture volunteer applications and things like shift preference. An online presence is the key difference between this solution and a fully manual one. A manual VMS might be a spreadsheet on someone's computer or a binder at the front door of the nonprofit. While inexpensive, a volunteer has restricted access to it. They must ask the spreadsheet owner to update their information or physically visit the nonprofit to fill in things like their shift preferences. No wonder so many organizations are turning to no-code technologies such as a Google form. Google Forms is the best known and most widely used example of an online form that can be quickly created and used by an organization. Younger generations may be familiar with the technology, as Google offers an extensive educational suite of services. Within minutes, most people familiar with Google can create and embed a form on their website. There are extensive online resources to help even the most uninitiated or cyberphobic volunteer coordinator set up their first auto manual form. Most importantly, the form can be quickly scaled in sophistication by more savvy users. Google is not the only option for nonprofits. For organizations with an Office 365 subscription, Microsoft also offers sophisticated forms. There are many paid services available to nonprofits, which provide the form and back-end database services. Of course, if you are buying and then creating no-code forms to manage your volunteers, why not just invest in a commercial VMS? In another video, we'll hear from a student team who did an extensive search of the VMS marketplace. More than 150 potential vendors were identified and then narrowed down to a few dozen. Commercial VMS software ranges from free to very expensive, with most solutions landing somewhere in the hundreds to thousands of dollars per year. What is a VMS? It is the best compromise between functionality and cost for a nonprofit. It can be as simple as a notebook, a series of text messages to a few volunteers, or very sophisticated software. Most organizations fall into a sweet spot between building their own and subscribing to a commercial VMS. This sweet spot is described in more detail in the following videos. As your nonprofit considers the role of volunteers and the effectiveness of your volunteer program, remember, a monthly subscription fee can help you find, supervise, and retain your volunteers. But it can't fix a dysfunctional organization or an overly burdensome volunteer experience. A VMS is a powerful tool, but it is not a silver bullet. This is the first of a series of videos on volunteer management systems. Other videos in the series include: how many commercial VMS are there? Benefits and costs of DIY VMS. Is a commercial VMS worth the money? What is the volunteer lifecycle? Watch the full VMS May 28, 2024 webinar. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoy this series, and we'll see you at the next video.